So what if I told you that there was a precise number of dials that you need to make that can almost guarantee quota? Well, stick with me for the next 5 minutes and I'll show you the formula that proves it. So when it comes to cold calling, most reps do one of two things. One, they dial until their voice gives out, or two, they simply freeze because they don't know where to start. Both of these scenarios feel awful, and worse, they feel awful because they're random. And when you're doing random outreach, they'll guarantee random results. So I've audited and listened to thousands of cold calls over the years, and across the board, only about 16% of those dials end up hitting a live human, and only about 2 to 5% of those actually turn into booked meetings. But the good news is, when you know your conversion rates and what those numbers are, you can dial in the exact amount of metrics that you need to chase to hit your sales numbers. When you know exactly what those two numbers are, you can work backwards and figure out the exact number of dials you need to make to hit your sales numbers. So step one, start with the end in mind. The first question you have to ask yourself is, how many demos do you need to get this month to hit your target? Let's use 20 as an example. Step two, so now we need to establish what your conversion rates actually are when it comes to converting your conversations into a meeting booked. So you need to grab your real data. So say hypothetically, you're booking 1 in 5 conversations into a demo, that will become your number. Because if you're converting at a 20% conversion rate, what that means, to book 5 demos in a week, you need to be having 25 conversations. So now it's time to do the math. So let's take that number of 20 demonstrations for the month, which you're chasing. That means you need to be having 100 conversations in order to hit your sales target. Now you need to figure out how many dials you actually need to make in order to hit those conversation targets. So it's good to go back and look at actual real data on this. If your conversion rate from dial to conversation is say 10%, to hit those 100 conversations, you need to be making 1,000 dials across the month. And then if you can take those 1,000 dials, you need to break that down into a daily target, and that becomes how many dials you need to make per day. So it's pretty simple really. All you need to do is figure out how many demos you want to book, how many conversations you need to have to book those demos, and then how many dials you need to make to have those conversations. And that becomes your daily and monthly activity metric. So now you know how much work you actually need to do. Now we need to turn that into some sort of focused effort. The best way to do this is to block out specific times throughout the day where you do your cold calling in order to hit these dial targets, because it's only through consistent effort and action that you'll generate results, just like anything in life. So the best way to guarantee that you're going to hit your sales targets at the end of each month is to reverse engineer the numbers. The best salespeople don't just go out there and dial randomly. They know exactly where they need to be in order to achieve the result they want. By following a formula, you don't come into each day blind. You know exactly what you need to do, and as long as you do that consistently, you'll get the results you want. So if you found this useful, be sure to hit like and subscribe, because I've got more of this content coming your way. Cheers.